think for me personally, it's just I'm 35 years old now. And over the last like 10, 15 years, I've just developed this kind of mindset of if I want to accomplish something, it's on me. No one else is there. Yes, you'll have people who will help you. And that's amazing. We all have those people who have helped us. But like ultimately, it comes down to you. Before we were on the podcast, we were talking about how I'm a bottom line guy, just like yourself. It's like, bottom line, all details aside, it's up to you to make the change. And then when you accept that and you accept that personal responsibility and you start to do things, well, damn, you see, I am capable of doing these things. I am capable of making this change, or I want to go after this goal. And then boom, you do it. And for me, it really just, it's like a snowball. You do it once. And so I gained some momentum and I gained some confidence in going after this goal and getting there, and then you do it again and in a totally different realm. For example, for me, I guess you could say different things. We talked about music earlier. I wanted so desperately to, be in a touring band. So we went through hell and we got there. We signed to a record label. We put out albums. That's how Alex and I met. Our bands toured together. And then another subject. So I've worked in the film industry for the last 13 years on like the biggest Hollywood movies and TV series that you could think of. And that career is hard. It's hard to get into. It's hard to do. But I was the one back in the day, fresh out of college. I was the one scouring crappy Craigslist ads, working for $50 a day. And then like over time, now I'm doing Academy Award winning movies, Emmy winning television series. I knew what it took to get to where I want to go. I knew the direction. And I'm the one sleeping in my car in the streets of New York because that's what I have to do to get to the place I want to be. I know, oh, I live 300 miles away from New York. Well, that's fine. I'm going to travel down there. I'm going to sleep in my car. I'm going to go do the job because that will lead to the next job, which will lead to the next job. And then in other elements of life, let's say like the fitness element, I've been able to basically lose almost 100 pounds in my life and keep it off for 8 years because this is just who I am now. There is no not training. There is no going back in a sense because I have the confidence to do it because I did it once and then I did it a second time and I did it a third time and all different elements of life. And to me, that is how you build that confidence up and you build that kind of understanding that, wow, you are capable of these things, go after it and do it. And yeah, to me, it really just starts with just one time. And to be honest with you, you want something funny. What started my whole kind of, I guess you could call it physical transformation a decade ago was flossing, to be completely honest. I had a dentist appointment and then I had another dentist appointment a month later. The woman, who like cleans your teeth before the dentist came in was like, you really need to start flossing more. You can make a huge change in your life if you just start flossing just once a day. And you're going to be back here in a month from now. And I want to see your teeth in a drastically better position in a month from now. And I was like, oh man, yeah, I don't floss nearly enough. So during that 30 days, I started flossing. I even made a joke to my wife every day. Like I said to her, life changes. I'm making life changes. Day 3, flossing. It was something so simple and so stupid as flossing, but damn that. And I say it honestly, that was the trigger that really started like the snowball cascade of the physical transformation, you could say, which also therefore a physical and a transformation is as mental as physical, but like something as stupid and simple as flossing. And I went into the dentist 30 days later for the other appointment that I had. And she was like, you've been flossing. Great job. And it was like, wow, that simple little thing. Well, I can do it when I decide to do it. And yeah, it's funny how it's something stupid like that. But like anyone listening, that could be what starts the snowball. Starts small and they grow to big things when you keep going.
The difference, James, was like you made it a priority. Everyone knows what they need to do. It's a choice, but then you have to make it a priority to execute on that choice.
Yeah.
Because I just started getting back to working out last year and I knew healthy mind and body to be optimal as a leader. You got to take care of yourself because once you take care of yourself, then you can take care of your family and your workers. Because if you don't take care of yourself and then also you crash and burn, now you're letting everyone else around you down. It was a trigger for me because I was just hearing I had a mentor who I was listening to, and he's like, got to make it a priority. And we hear it all the time, but for whatever reason,
Mhm.
it finally clicked. And it's better that it clicked later than never. But that was
Absolutely.
incredible that the flossing. And I actually read the
Yeah.
same thing. I hated flossing. And I always had
Terrible.
aspirations to do it after every dentist appointment. And then finally, a few years later, it clicked and do it all the time now. So
It's like the small thing that you can do that leads to big things. And I always say too, people are like, oh, I don't have time to train. I don't have time to go to the gym today. And I always say, right where you're standing, I want you to jump up and down for the next 5 minutes straight. You have 5 minutes. Jump up and down for the next 5 minutes straight and tell me how hard your heartbeat is beating, how much sweat is coming down from you. It does not take a lot. Anything is better than nothing. And that's not just with like working out. That's reading 5 pages a day of a real book is better than nothing. Because why? In 10 days from now, you've read 50 pages. Great. A 250-page book won't take you that long to read when you just read a mere 5 pages a day. It could be literally anything. I feel like people forget this, or they think everything has to be these big, grandiose declarations, and it doesn't have to be that way. You start small, but the caveat is be consistent. And if you're consistent, even with small changes, well, over time, those add up to monster changes. And I know for me, that kind of mindset definitely comes down to, and it comes back to my, training in the weight room, where if you just add 5 pounds on the bar, it doesn't sound like a lot of weight, but 5 pounds month after month in a year, that's 60 pounds. 60 pounds is a lot of weight to add onto the bar. But when you break it down and you keep it consistent, that's the message that we want to preach. And again, it's not just, we don't believe everybody is like lacking or anything like that. It's just, I know that everyone, if you're honest with yourself, I could do better in this category. I could do better in that category. And when you want to, and you reap those benefits of having the goal and going after it and succeeding, it just, like I was saying, it snowballs to every other element of life. Like whether for me, it was like building the career, or it was the physical element or the family element. How many moms and dads out there could stand to be a little more present with their children, and then watch what happens when you build that relationship? You'll never trade it for the world with your kids. So I do feel like it builds that confidence, and it builds that momentum, and you become an unstoppable person. And in my opinion, unstoppable people are what we need more of in this world. And when you are that person and that you become that, nothing is off the table. And it's a great place to be. Anyone who's being honest would say, I would like to be in that place. To, circle back to Absolute Aid, that's what we are here to help with. We are here to aid you on whatever, you're looking to do. And we know that you're capable without any of our products. You don't need our products to do these things. But if you do need a little extra help in this category, that category, we are right here for you. We are here to support you. And ultimately, that's what we want to see from you. And yeah, we're here for it, more or less. To make a long-winded answer shorter, we're here for you.
I want to touch on one of the statements that James just made about going after something. When you go to a successful person and you say, do you dream? Their dreaming is totally different than someone who's not successful in dreams. And I got to thinking to myself, when that was told by one of my mentors, I go, what do you mean? He goes, we believe that anything that we think of, we can just do. Right when he said that, I went to go reply back to him, and I stopped and went, you said think, not dream. I used to dream all the time. Oh man, I dream that I'm going to be this person, this successful. And when you make the small things happen first, like flossing your teeth, you're like, oh man, I could do that. And then it's, oh, what else could I change about myself? And you start looking around, like, I'm going to start shaving every 3 days to make sure that my hair looks good. I'm going to start eating better. I'm going to start eating a couple vegetables a day. It's like these random little things that you change. You start to see that these elements of your life start to change. These dreams start to come true around you because you're changing elements that make other things start to click in. When a successful person or person going after success makes one thing happen, and it was one of their dreams, like I want to drop 100 pounds, and they make it happen, that dream became a reality. After you make so many dreams become reality, the dreaming element stops because they think that anything they can think of is what they can deliver out in front of them. So they go, I want to turn Absolute Aid into $1 million company. What does that look like? How do we have to do that? And then you go from the top and you start to break it back down to the one thing I'm going to do today, this week, today, that's going to help this week. This week is going to help this month. This month is going to be the 6 months. 1 year, 5 year, boom, we're $1 million company. But we knew we could do it because we knew that a dream is just another sense of what we have to do to make reality happen. And that's where the doers come in. I can come to James and say, I want to climb that big mountain. And James goes, have you ever climbed a small mountain? No, let's accomplish that first. So you understand what it takes to do that dream. Because when we conquer the first one, you go, that was hard. Right away, you go, I need to start working out better. I need to start eating more clean. It's this snowball effect. That's what happened with me in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was way overweight. I couldn't barely move. I threw my back out. I threw my arms out. My wrist started hurting. And then James came in the picture. James just challenged me to change little elements about me. Do you have a list? And I was like, no. And he goes, you try writing a list down of things that you should accomplish each day. And I'm like, that sounds smart. So I started doing that. And then it was, you should start reading. Do you read? I said, no, I'm going to read. And then I said, I'm going to start studying CBD and studying business plans, and studying these. And James, I'm going to do the same. So now we started feeding off each other to all these elements of my day. Everything started changing. My jujitsu started changing. And then you just start analyzing and just start critiquing yourself. And I start bouncing things off James. What do you think? Add more protein in your diet. I go to my nutritionist. This is what I need to do. Yep, you're absolutely right. We're there now. All my dreams started becoming realities, and if anything is possible, like that's every time you hear a successful story from Steve Harvey, Dwayne Johnson, you always say, man, I had $8 in my pocket. I was almost homeless. And they never stopped. They just went, I got this. And they just kept pushing. And then boom, they went to the other side. When the things get hard is when most people go, yeah, I'm done. I have to throw the towel in, man. It gets rough. But when you have someone like a partner like James or Ray Williams or Levi, they're like, bro, you got this. And you're like, yeah, I got this, man. I do got this. And those are for me, those are some of the turning points of my life. James answered, what was for him. When I was in War of Ages and we started, I was like, man, we want to be on the big label. And when that happened, I was like, oh, I want to be on MTV. 4 months later, we're on MTV. And I was like, whoa, I want to go on a big national tour. Boom, we were on a big national tour. I was like, everything that we've said we're going to do, we keep accomplishing. Man, I want to go overseas. Boom, we were one of the first Face Down bands to go overseas the way that we did. And I'm like, I want to go on some of the biggest metal national tours. And James knows we start hitting those. And I'm like, this is the craziest thing that's ever going on. And what was going on with me was the imposter syndrome of I'm just not good enough. I'm just not. I would hear some people like James or mentors of mine tell me the things that I've done is you're one of the good guys. Don't lose that. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? I'm one of the good guys. Like I'm barely struggling in what we're doing. And as I started growing, I have this in me, like it's built in me. Don't lose who you are. Don't lose the good guy essence of you. Keep fighting forward. And that's where absolutely they started coming into the mix. I'm like, I built all these connections that could benefit me, but benefit the people around me to build a culture to doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. It's never been about me. It's been about others. And so now this company could give me this platform to being like, how much did you make last year? 100 grand. Well, my company made 40 million and I gave it all away. It's like not saying we're doing that, but that's almost like that makes sense to me. I was like, I want to bless people. I want to do great things. And it's because it's some people out there everybody needs a little bit of a kick in the butt in their own way. Me, I've had some of the most successful mentors as like James has been on the call with some of them. When I tell you that these men are amazing, like they are phenomenal. And it's for some reason, James came in and just gave me a push from behind, but he's known me for so long that it meant almost more to me coming from him and the kind words. And then the also like the shove of, bro, you need to get going. I'm like, holy crap, what have I been doing the past year? And he told me the other day, dude, who you've changed in the past 3 months is nuts to me, because it was like, if I don't do this, I'm failing myself. I'm failing my family. I'm failing everybody around me. I need to make changes, not for this brand, but for who I am. And if I don't do that, then who am I representing? We're saying that this is our brand. This is who we were going to be. And I'm not doing that, then we failed from the start. And so I just started making these changes, and man, it just fires me up. Now, dude, I get so amped up about it. I'm the wall right now.